Joining us now is Joyce Donaldson from the Orion Area Chamber of Commerce, and you have a lot of exciting stuff coming up over the next couple of weeks. The first thing I have on my list here is Bagels and Brew on Tuesday, February 4th at 8 a.m. at Amazing Pedals. What do you do at Bagels and Brew?
Yeah, so last year we implemented a program. It's a monthly networking, first Tuesday of the month, and we travel around to all of our different member businesses. So it's pretty informal. Our members will sign up, they'll get registered to win some raffle prizes, and they'll get on what we call the hot sheet. Which is a list of everybody that has pre-registered. So they don't have to necessarily go around and collect business cards. They're already on, all their contact information is already in the system, and we just hand it out. So basically they come, they gather, they have coffee, they have bagels and fruit and whatnot. And then we get into what we call a social circle, and everybody goes around the room and talks about their business for about 15 to 30 seconds. And there's a lot of business that comes out from those Bagels and Brew. The things I'm hearing are just phenomenal. I'm like, that's great. So we typically have between 30 and 45 members that come out. And it's really great. The host provides the bagels and the coffee, and it's just a great networking opportunity. I'm actually always so surprised at how awake everybody is in the morning and so willing to, talk about their business and be chatty, because I'm not as much of a morning person.
Yeah,
so,
me too. I could relate.
And this time at Amazing Pedals, of course, in lieu of Valentine's Day coming up, we're hopeful we'll get a lot of men in there so that they can maybe order some of their gifts for Valentine's Day. And it's such a beautiful venue.
It is, and they just had a ribbon cutting ceremony earlier, or in 2024. It seems like one of the biggest perks that members of the chamber get are those networking opportunities.
Absolutely.
And I remember attending a conference a few years ago, and whether you are part of a nonprofit organization or you own a business, they say always have your elevator speech prepared. Are you familiar with that term?
Yes, absolutely.
Where if you get on an elevator and someone asks, "Oh, what do?" You need to clearly and concisely explain what it is you do during that elevator ride. And so when you say that members have a chance to stand up and talk about their company, have that elevator speech ready to go.
Exactly, and that's what they do. So they have, it's about 15 to 30 seconds. Yeah. And then they can also talk about any upcoming events. So if it is a nonprofit organization, they can highlight that. And then people just mix and mingle, and they maybe set up coffee dates or lunch dates to discuss more about how they can do business together.
Yeah. Now, that was the first thing I had on this list, but I do know that this week you have a big event happening on, Thursday?
On Thursday from 9 to 11 at Christ Redeemer Church on Walden. We have our annual meeting and membership appreciation breakfast. So at that point, our operations manager, Jillian Nolan, will talk about a year in review. So we have all kinds of fun slides, and we'll talk about all the great things that we did in 2024. And then Chris Barnett, our supervisor, will talk about what's coming up for Orion Township, give a little bit of an economic forecast, and then I'll come on and talk about what the Chamber will be doing in 2025, which is, we're really excited about 25 since it is our 75th anniversary celebration.
That's impressive, yeah. And it's just coincidence, but in addition to being the 75th anniversary, the Chamber is going through a major, major change. Talk about what you'll be celebrating in February, is it?
In February.
The
great.
Grand
So
opening.
We moved our offices October 15th. And so we've had this date on the schedule since then, thinking we might be all ready. We may not quite have all of our wallpaper and et cetera up. But yes, we moved downtown to the Spresser Ogden Law offices. We're in the Carriage House, AKA what used to be the garage, but it's beautiful. Copper tint ceilings, hardwood flooring, modern lighting. It's historical meets urban chic. And so we'll be celebrating with an open house and ribbon cutting on the 13th. And also, we'll be open from 12 to 6:30. I believe, and we'll have our ribbon cutting at 4:30. So we invite everybody to come out and celebrate and see our new office. We're super excited to be in such a highly visible area in downtown.
Yeah. Now, remember the Chamber did used to have an office in the village of Lake Orion. the chamber ended up moving here to the Orion Center. We're going through some changes here at the Orion Center, where the school district is going to be occupying the space formerly occupied by Orion Township Parks and Rec, which forced the chamber to skedaddle. And so now you're back in the heart of the village. Talk about the perks of being in the village.
Yeah, I guess being here at the Orion Center, I didn't know how much we were missing out by being downtown. You know, shopkeepers, business owners just stop in all the time and say hello, or, you know, tell us what they're doing. And it just feels like we're so much more connected. Now, with the chamber, we have 330 members. Not all of them are in the village. You know, they're in Orion Township, some of them are in the village, but they're also in, you know, Clarkston, Waterford, Oxford, Rochester Hills, Auburn Hills. So a combination of all those areas. That's why we are the Orion Area Chamber.
Yeah.
But being in downtown really feels like the chamber is more grounded, because a large portion of our businesses obviously is in Orion Township and in that downtown area. Yeah. And then it makes it super easy to just, you know, walk around and visit with them, you know, maybe delivering their membership decal or invitations to upcoming events for our small business walks. It's just really, really nice. And I have to say, a perk is really like if somebody walks in and says, let's go for a Coke, or we forgot our lunch, you know, everything is really accessible.
Yeah. And that's one thing that's great about the village is there's so many places to eat now.
Absolutely.
And places to visit. You know, it wasn't always like that. There were a lot of vacancies, you know, decades ago in downtown Lake Orion. I wonder what the vacancy rate is today. It's got to be very, very small.
I don't know what the vacancy rate is.
Yeah.
I know that they do have some availability. I do know that we knew like almost 1 year in advance that we would be moving out of the Orion Center. Yeah. So I, you know, put on my looking glasses and had some realtors kind of looking to see if there would be a spot for us in downtown or on M24. We really had no clue where we were going to be able to land. Yeah. And it just so happened that Spresser Ogden had moved in this beautiful renovated building that they had renovated, and we had done a ribbon cutting, and I knew that they had that space, and I ran into Bill Ogden in the Orion Township parking lot and said, "Hey, Bill, what are you doing with that space?" And he didn't say no. He didn't say no about 3 or 4 times, and then finally we met, and you know, it's a perfect space for us. Just super high visibility, great parking for us. But as you mentioned, the chamber used to be downtown Lake Orion. We literally are just across the street from our old office in the Spresser Ogden building on the corner of Old Lapeer and Shedbold Street.
Yeah. And it's such a beautiful, I mean, I'm sure it used to be a residence, and it has this beautiful wraparound porch. And I got to say, if I were to have offices in that home, I would probably spend most of the day rocking on the porch, maybe sipping a lemonade or something, waving to the neighbors.
Oh, that sounds so lovely. We're just way too busy for that. That does sound really lovely. Maybe this summer.
Yeah. Oh, it's such a beautiful place. So I also see here peer-to-peer networks. It's a new program. You want to elaborate on peer-to-peer?
Absolutely. So last year we started a peer-to-peer group, which was with our trades, builders, and suppliers. And we met a couple different times, and we, you know, talked about, or they talked about, you know, what they had in common, how they could refer each other, what common problems they were facing, maybe upcoming trade shows, etc. So it worked out really great. And then in addition to that, we printed a trades, builders, and suppliers referral guide so that we can put them in our new resident welcome bags, give them to our realtors, apartments, complexes, things like that. So if you need a good plumber, painter, architect, deck builder, all that's listed in there. And you know that those people, those members that are listed in there are reliable and upstanding citizens. So that's really great. So then that was so successful. And our next meeting is actually February 20th at Orion Township Hall, and Tammy Gerling will be coming in to talk about the building department and permits and things like that. So with the success of that, and being that we're downtown now, we have a lot of business owners that are members, and so we're going to create a downtown business peer-to-peer group. And our plans are to meet a couple times a year, mainly so that they can get each other's contact information and that they can, like just be more aware. Like if somebody walks in the store and says, hey, they walk into a clothing boutique or say Lucky's and say, where can I get a keychain or where can I get a gift for a child, that they will actually know then who they can refer them. Like, hey, it's three doors down or, a couple blocks away. That's one aspect. The second aspect would be for safety purposes. So what if they saw smoke coming out of the chimney across the street, or they see as a person that maybe is hassling customers or businesses, they could pick up the phone and actually call the person, that business. So it's kind of twofold. It's more like a meet and greet for those business owners. So we have a committee, a brain trust committee that we've put together, and we'll be hosting our first meeting the first half of this year. I don't really have a date for it. But in that brain trust also will be made up, obviously, of local business owners in the downtown. And they will, kind of talk about what their objectives, things that they're facing that, maybe they can utilize each other's expertise, time, talents, and treasures to overcome some of the obstacles that perhaps they're facing.
That's great. Yeah.
We're super excited. So the peer-to-peer, we created the trades builders and suppliers last year. This could be an ongoing, like next year if I identify a segment that is very large within the chamber that we feel might benefit from that one-on-one, I want to say networking, but I want to say more like peer-to-peer collaboration.
Mm-hmm. That's great. And talking about, your success last year, I know I personally shot video at like 18 ribbon cuttings.
19.
19. And I wasn't at all of them, but we had somebody there. We've hit the ground running in January. I mean, January's not even over yet, and we've done, 3 or 4 already?
We have, and I think between now and the beginning of mid-March, I think we have like 9 on the schedule.
All right, got to keep me busy. So, but it's great to see that the chamber is thriving and that new members are joining all the time.
Absolutely.
And there's milestones to celebrate. I just found out that Northern Wholesale Flooring is celebrating 40 years this year. Lucky's in downtown Lake Orion celebrated 50 last year. It's really great to see longevity when it comes to some of these local businesses. So business community is thriving, and I think the chamber plays a big role in that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And so for our 75th anniversary celebration, we also will be having some sort of big reception. We actually have a date. I think it's in mid-June. We can't do it on the actual day that the chamber was incorporated because it's Juneteenth, which I think is June 19th.
It's now a national holiday.
Is now a national holiday. So on June 17th, we'll be having some sort of gala at Paint Creek Country Club. It will not be a sit-down formal. It'll be more like a reception. And we have an archival committee that's putting together, or that will be putting together, I should say, some different fun, like photos. And we have 4 huge boxes at the chamber of all archives, and it's really fun stuff. I mean, old newspaper articles. I know the Lake Orion Review also said that they would dig out some items, and we're really planning on celebrating it big. And with that, what I hope to be able to do is to celebrate also all those businesses that are going to be celebrating milestones this year, every 5 years. And we'll be putting together like a commemorative chamber directory and a commemorative official program to celebrate our 75th anniversary. I'm not 100% sure what all that looks like yet, but I have it in my mind, and I know it'll come to fruition.
That's awesome.
It'll be a nice legacy piece, right?
Yeah, and I'll have to start digging through my archives.
Absolutely.
I've documented about the last 30 years of Lake Orion history, so I'll dig through my archives and see what I can find.
That's wonderful.
That would be nice to put together a little retrospective. So.
Exactly, and I imagine that it will be playing on the big screen, kind of looping around. And then we're actually at our celebration, we're going to do a throwback to the 50s, so we'll have little 50s hors d'oeuvres, 50s inspired cocktails.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it's going to be fun.
So if you are a business owner and you want to join the chamber, go to the website, orionareachamber.com, and you'll have all that contact information there. And Joyce, thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you.
Great to see you. We'll see you soon.